This is a Sports Catastrophe production. Hey there, Heather, ho there. It's Jeff Cutter Diamond. Welcome you to another Sports Catastrophe on this day. And after 4 days of not doing it on this day, the rules are that if it's a topic on a certain day that I've already done, or I've run out of topics, it can't be done. But anyhow, this is Mark Messier in a Vancouver Canucks jersey. And Ranger fans are gonna be gobsmacked. Well, it happened. Messier left the New York Rangers to join the Vancouver Canucks. Now, Messier was not originally a New York Ranger. He was an Edmonton Oiler who was drafted in 1979. He did well for the Oilers, but unfortunately, contract problems between the team and himself, alongside his father, who was his agent, forced Messier to want to leave town. And the Rangers made a great move, picking up Messier in exchange for 3 players, including Stephen Rice, former Kitchener Ranger. Anywho, Messier made an impact. He was the captain, he was working hard, and the Rangers somehow were the best team in the NHL in 1992. Unfortunately, though, they fell in the second round thanks to Ron Francis's 40-foot slap shot, or 50 or 60-foot slap shot. I think it was 60-foot shot that eluded the Rangers goalie, Richter. I keep thinking it's Richter. Yeah, it was Richter. And then Van Beesbrook had to come in the net. But anyhow, the Rangers fumbled in that series. And that actually started Pittsburgh's drive to win 11 straight games within that playoff season, which is the NHL record. Anyhow, Messier had a bad 93 season. Roger Nielsen was just taking people off of his defense-first approach and all that. Messier led a coup to get rid of him. And then Ron Smith had to come in for the rest of the year. And the Rangers had to watch Mario Lemieux shellac 5 goals on April 9th, 1983, my 8th birthday. Anyhow, the Rangers did better. Messier knew he had to be a leader. And Mike Keenan, well, he's not really the best coach around, but he's a coach that gets results. Unfortunately for Keenan, he got to 3 Stanley Cup Finals appearances without a cup. And then, all of a sudden, they get to the final. Keaton insisted on making big trades, getting rid of Mike Gardner to Toronto for Glenn Anderson for assistance. But anyway, the Rangers survived a 7-game conference final against the Devils, which they needed Stefan Mentos double overtime goal to sink the Devils. And then they've had a tough time with the Canucks. They were up 3-1 and nearly choked it. But they won Game 7. Messier got to lift the Stanley Cup and end 54 years of Ranger frustration, which was the record for the longest time until the Leafs, of course, surpassed it. Be proud, Ranger fans. That's one record you don't have. Anyway, Messier had it all. But in 96, things would be huge for Messier as he would reunite with his former Oiler teammate Wayne Gretzky. After Gretzky got shunned by Vancouver and Dallas, they couldn't give good contracts. And the Leafs gave him a 1-year deal. Gretzky says, I'll sign for whatever. But unfortunately, owner Steve Stavro said, it won't sell any seats. I know, but maybe the Gardens would have sold out. But still, Gretzky, star power, complimenting Doug Gilmour, could have brought the Leafs a little bit more credibility. Instead, the Leafs, in the next 2 seasons, failed to make the playoffs and then moved to the Eastern Conference. Regardless, Messier and Gretzky were a good fit for each other. And they got to the conference finals. Although the Flyers were taken down in 5. The good news for Ranger fans is that the Red Wings swept them. So anyway, Messier and Gretzky were huge and all that. Messier actually wanted to finish his career with the Rangers, but the president of MSG at the time, Dave Checkett, said Messier was not worth $20 million for 3 years. And Messier said that maybe I'll take a 1-year, $6 million contract. Public sentiment sided with Messier. After all, he did help the Rangers get out of the basement, if you will, out of the dark times, and won the Stanley Cup. Neil Smith, though, as GM, said that Gretzky and LaFontaine could be top centermen, and it looked pretty good and all that. I mean, the Rangers were days away from signing Joe Sakic from the Avalanche. But unfortunately, the Avalanche matched the contract offer, the contract sheet. The reason why was because of Air Force One, the movie, starring Harrison Ford. As Sean McCaff has said in his book 100 Ranger Fill-ins, in the chapter in the story about Air Force One being terrible and getting things. It's like, why does that have to do with Joe Sakic? Plenty. Because the Avalanche owners, well, Comsat, who owned the Avalanche, the company that did, actually were partners in the movie Air Force One. And because of its high box office, they got the extra cash and escrow they needed to sign Sakic to the contract to match the Rangers' offer sheet, which meant he was still a Colorado Avalanche. And Sakic would end his career as an Avalanche and not move on to any team whatsoever. So the Rangers were ticked off. And also ticked off, Messier left. He decided to sign to Vancouver at 36 years old. But Neil Smith should really be blamed too, as Gretzky, he thought Gretzky and LaFontaine were good enough. Unfortunately, Gretzky would retire just a few seasons later, and Pat LaFontaine would suffer a career-ending concussion early in the 97-98 season. I kind of like Pat LaFontaine. So anyway, Messier went back to a Canadian team, Vancouver. It was emotional and high profile, and he did it. So July 28th, he signed for the Canucks. He was no longer a Ranger. Messier was actually given the captaincy by Trevor Linden. And people thought that Linden was pressured to get the captaincy. But no, he wasn't. He said he might as well. The fans were not too happy. I mean, understandably. I mean, Trevor Linden is a Canucks icon. Linden would not last too long with the Canucks, as early in 97 he would be traded, in that 97-98 season, he would be traded to the Islanders. But the good news for Vancouver is they actually did pretty well. They got Brian McCabe and Todd Bertuzzi from the Cupcakes, if you will. So that worked out quite well. Messier was the captain, and Messier wanted the number 11, and he got number 11. The only problem was that in Vancouver, it was taboo to wear number 11 because of the original Canuck. When the Canucks were in the league in 1970, Wayne Mackey was playing for them. Wayne Mackey was a great inspirational member of the team and wore number 11. But in 1974, he died of brain cancer. So the Canucks unofficially decided to retire his number 11. And Messier got the number 11, and the fans were pissed. I can tell you that much. It tarnished his image. In his first game back on Broadway, MSG provided him a big screen video and all that. It was very emotional and all that. But he scored a goal for the Canucks in New York and got an applause from the fans. The fans really liked Messier. I think they really tore the President GM to shreds, and I wouldn't blame him one bit. Of course, this is not the first example of a player scoring a goal in his first game back as an opposing player. Remember Guy Lafleur? He scored 2 goals in a Saturday night game at the Montreal Forum when he and his Rangers went to the Forum. But unfortunately, that's the game when the Rangers choked a 5-2 lead and lost 7-5. So anyway, Messier did his job. Unfortunately, though, it wouldn't be that much. Messier put up 60 points in the 98 season. It was actually his worst full season output in the NHL ever. So 60 points was just terrible. And unfortunately, injuries would shorten him. He would put up 158 points in 3 years. Only 53 per, which is very much terrible and all that. Messier was going to be named to the Canadian Olympic hockey team once pros were allowed to compete. Unfortunately, though, Bobby Clark, the GM, said no to Messier. Kind of worked out. Anyway, Mike Keaton was reunited with Mark Messier for the Canucks, but then Keaton was canned as coach. Messier's 3 years with the Canucks was dismal. And the team said, no, we're not going to get Messier back. Messier would then go to New York and bury a toy hatchet in his press conference and spent 6 years with the Rangers. And, you know, the Rangers fans were happy to have him. He still produced when he had to. I mean, he wasn't prime Messier in '94, but anyway, doesn't matter. So anyhow, yeah, Messier signing the Canucks was a bad move. And Gretzky said if he had known that Messier was going to leave New York, he would not have signed with the Rangers. But anyway, yeah, Gretzky and Messier were great for 1 year. Got them to the conference final, but then Messier decided to leave. I think that the Rangers management thought that Messier was not worth that money. And Vancouver's like, oh, hey, like Messier. Let's take him. Messier's best moment as a Canuck was being in those Lay's potato chip commercials up north in Canada. I think the States still had them, but anyway. So Mark Messier did his job. Unfortunately, well, he came back to New York. That's the good thing. That's the only good thing. And all that. The Blue Shirt Underground fans must be really happy that Messier came back to the Rangers. And you can bet on that. Anyway, I'm Jeff Dunn to do